Don't like to see you get down on yourself.
I will have.
Yeah, I think so too.
I will have.
Drink the bourbon.
I will have a little.
Just
bit.
drink a little bit of the bourbon.
I will have a.
It's
little
raining outside.
I will have a little bit.
Okay, I had more.
I will have a little bit.
And what is it? It's Woodford Reserve.
Yeah.
This is the good shit.
Yeah, my dad drinks that too.
And we don't have a cup, so you gotta drink.
Yeah.
You gotta drink it like you're back on the block.
Have you been watching Deezus and Mero?
I don't have Showtime.
Yo, I'm obsessed with them. If I was obsessed with them when they were the Bodega Boys, I'm obsessed with them now. They are here to stay.
To stay.
Wait, what am I doing?
You're throwing it back like a chick on the block. You really looking?
I was.
You know, looking for. You think it's gonna be random?
You know I'm from Long Island. You know this, okay?
That doesn't mean that you're bougie though.
I'm from Baldwin. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Ooh,
Baldwin.
wow. He's a couple train stops from me.
Yeah.
Not too far.
I had another friend from Amityville.
Let me get my
Oh
camera.
yeah, that's definitely kind of far.
Go ahead, throw it back, throw it.
I'm not throwing a whole bunch back.
Act like you had G-Ho.
Chill. Keep it
It wouldn't
classic.
be bourbon.
Yeah, exactly. We keep it classic.
So, welcome to another episode of the Views Podcast, the podcast for creators by creators. How's it taste? Oh, okay. I'm
Feels like G-Ho.
It's really G-Ho?
Feels like
It's
G-Ho.
barrel proof, so it's a little bit stronger than.
What it tastes like bad decisions?
Child. I do.
Ooh, it smells like bad decisions.
No. Let's see.
Oh, this might be my new favorite right here.
All right.
Is this shit expensive?
That's the top shelf one. The regular one is it's a little pricey. They're usually like $30-$35 a fifth. I
Besides this?
recommend it. That's a fifth.
That's a fifth?
But like I said, that's like the top shelf one that they got. But it's good. I mean, it's stronger than regular liquor. I just usually sip it.
Yeah, you definitely got to.
I don't shoot it, or you can mix it with something if you want to get real drunk.
Like that's something you want to use, like to make an old fashioned.
Yeah.
You definitely want to, yeah.
What's the old
Or
fashioned?
mix it with ginger ale if you like ginger ale. Or
Definitely.
Coke. I got some ginger ale in the car.
Wait, how do you say that?
Ginger ale.
Say it again.
Ginger ale. I
How
say
you supposed
old
to say
too.
it?
I always
Go get old
Ginger ale.
things.
I do this to everybody. It's
Ginger
ginger ale.
Ginger ale.
Ginger ale.
Ginger ale. It's two
That's what,
words.
that's what he said. Ginger ale.
Nice.
Ginger ale.
Ginger ale.
Ginger ale.
So what do you put in your car?
What?
Like what do you get changed in your car?
Oh no! Don't say it. Please don't say it.
What?
How you say oil?
Oil.
Oh,
Oil.
terrible! Terrible! Oh my god! Oh my god! No.
Get your oil changed.
Get your oil changed.
Oil.
Oh.
Oil.
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 Oil feels weird on my mouth. when I
It
say
does.
Oil.
Oil.
You get your oil,
Oil.
changed. Oil.
Yeah, I jumble up a lot of words though.
I had an ex that used to say sem.
Sam.
Sem.
Sem.
Lim.
Sam 50.
11.
Right.
45, 47.
Right.
I got my daughter saying that. She come around shouting it, and I'm just like, look,
Sam.
it's funny, but you know.
Calm down.
Yeah, we got to use some restraint.
Yeah, you gotta teach them the right way before they start making fun of.
I love it. Like, all right, it's cute when we in the house. Like, calm down.
Well, now that we figured out how to say ginger ale,
Ginger ale.
Ginger ale.
ginger ale. It's two words.
Who's taking a breath to say that? Ginger ale.
That's true.
Ginger ale.
My pops used to.
Sound like a GPS.
You know, I used to say all the time when I was a kid. I said, what happened? But my father used to hear say, I used to say, what happened? Like you said,
Yeah, what happened?
What happened? Like, yo, stop mumbling your words.
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
So what happened to you last episode? How was the interview with Uncle Max's daughter?
So she kind of ghosted me some. Like, she answered my questions.
I'm chewing gum. I stop that.
Yeah, she answered my questions via Gmail, like email, like she, but
Did you send her all the questions or was it like one question at a time?
No, I sent her like 3 questions, but I had others, but because we already had discussed talking.
Yeah.
And she kind of ghosted me, but I was able to, do what I had to do. The story's out, so it's okay.
That's that. I mean, at least you got a story out of it.
Yeah, but still.
Stephen A. Smith used to say all the time. He said, "I don't need you to answer to you can ghost me. I'm still gonna get a story out."
That's true.
Yeah, that's the
That
rightest thing, right?
That is very true. I was watching. I don't know if you ever seen Spotlight, the story about how they the Boston Globe.
Yeah. With the priest.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and that's basically what happened. It was like, oh well, the cardinal doesn't want to comment, and they were like, well, we're still gonna put the story out. So we have plenty of sources. This dude is guilty, so we're still gonna put the story out. Like, I don't understand the problem is.
Yeah, I mean that sucks. That sucks. I thought it was you. I actually forgot it because I took this duffel bag with me to San Francisco because I didn't want to buy a bag. That's how cheap I am. And so I was like, you know, I'm just going to take all this shit out of here. So Seth Dot came with gifts on the last episode.
Okay.
And he has his own line, and he gave you a shirt, gifted you a shirt. I have it at the house. I meant to bring it. I will bring it next episode.
Nice.
Yeah. I kept the little bracelet thing because the shirt went my size. So
what size is the shirt?
It's like an extra large.
For men?
She's definitely a small, bro.
Yeah.
For men, I'm definitely like a medium. Yeah, like a small medium.
It's gonna be big, but it was like
pajamas.
I'm a 3X dude, so
pajamas.
So yeah, you know.
He pajamas.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
I like what you did there, though. I like what you did there, Kevin. All right, so this week. Yeah, I mean, for me, it would have just been like a wish, motivation shirt.
Okay.
Like, it'd have been like, I put it on, I need to get this small for the shirt to fit. I'm motivated.
I get it.
Yeah, or it'd have been like a halter top.
I do that with bathing suits.
Yeah, like with the whole belly out and stuff.
I get it.
Disgusting.
I get it.
But this week, we got a legend, a Charlotte legend. I don't want to say Charlotte, but since we are Charlotte, let's say Charlotte legend. And I have a funny story how I met him. Today's guest. I had a friend of mine who went to the first studio you was at before you built your banging ass new one. I think it's on Maximus, something like that.
Yeah.
Studio.
Well, the first studio I worked at in Charlotte when I moved back was Audio Pop.
Okay.
And I worked there for a little bit, and then I worked.
But that's not where I met you at.
You met me at Maximus.
Yeah. Which is funny because when you walk in there, like just how creative people are in the city and just in general, it's like when you try to find a space. So my day job, I'm a truck driver and I deliver locally, and I've been to that place 1,000 times, right?
Like dropping off cars to get chopped or something?
Nah, just whatever.
Shady business.
Yeah. Just whatever's at the bottom. I forgot what it is at the bottom.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't go back there, but.
Yeah, so I used to go there, and then he was like, I got the address. I was like, I ain't no goddamn studio over here. And then you walk upstairs, and it's like, oh shit, it's like a whole legit, not like computer in a closet. Like, you forget where you at. And that's when I met my man Kev, Black Pearl. And then next you know, we was in there and vibing and everything. I was just taking pictures, and I took one picture which I thought was shitty as fuck. But you liked it. It was a picture of you back when. Did you have the ponytail?
At Maximus?
Was that the ponytail
No,
stage?
I had that in the studio.
Okay.
The new studio.
Yeah, and so then that's how me and you connected. Has Kate ever been back to the studio?
Who?
Kurt, Kata.
Oh, I do.
We go by new name now.
Yeah. So I still mix records for him every now and then.
Do you?
Yeah, he's
He goes by Kurt Fly now.
Yeah, Kata. I
Yeah.
know about Kata, but yeah, cool dude.
Yeah, that was
whenever he needs it. He usually records up at a place called Skybox. They do good stuff with
what's her name?
Jizzle.
Serenity and Jizzle. Yeah. So that's how I met you. And ever since then, it just kept in contact. It's funny how you don't know you're going to meet somebody, and then you through other people, and then come to find out, you're like, here we go. And then when we started to go create podcasts, I was fucking lost. I didn't know what to get, and so I just hit him. I hit you up. I was like, yo, I can't hear. How we add all these mics? He was like, yo, bro, boom, this is what you need. So he's always been. Anytime you needed him, he's always been there. So. Today's guest, Black Pearl, Kev. I'm not saying your last name. I'm gonna fuck it up. But welcome to the show, Kev.
I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all having me.
Come on, let's do the claps like on Drink Champs. Ah.
Nails are hella sharp.
Oh yeah, they actually kind of shiny too.
They're dope though. I like
let's not do that again.
They're really sharp.
Yeah, let's not do that again. What's the point of having nails like that though?
They're popping like.
just in case you get in a fight.
Is those fight nails?
No, they're just popping, man. Who gets square nails though?
Nerds.
Facts. I like this guy. I'm learning a lot from Kev today.
So that's when you have kids, you gotta say, "Are you trying to be a nerd? Is that what it is? You want to be a nerd?"
I want my daughter to be a nerd though.
Nah, it's good. As long as they're good, as long as they have a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what's important.
Right.
So, Kev, where are you from originally?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh shit, you really from here?
I'm really from here.
Oh shit! Wow. Welcome. Oh, a native.
That's what's up.
Born and raised.
What's that
That's
town?
what's up.
East side, right behind the big gold building.
What big old man?
Oh, on Independence?
Mm-hmm.
Word.
That's my neighborhood. I grew up. My folks still live there.
Oh snap! That's what's up.
What's the name of that area? I know it sounds
Big gold
Charlotte.
building. I live in.
Big Gold.
Independence. Like,
Yeah, you call Coventry Woods is the neighborhood I grew up in, but it's you would name it more off the street. You would just say off Sharon Avenue and Independence or between Independence and Albemarle.
The reason I asked that is because like I know a lot of people like I'm from the Greenwood area, and I'm like I don't.
Yeah,
know.
well, certain neighborhoods are more
known.
Yeah, they got a little bit more notoriety. The East Side in general has always been somewhat of a less talked about area, but I think it's one of the most authentic as far as just a melting pot of cultures in the city. Like you go down Central Avenue, you can just see like between the blocks, like the whole Asian community and the whole Hispanic community and things like that. And I just think it's amazing, and people just overlook it all the time. But they have the best food. You go to places like they don't speak English, you got to point at the menu and they're rude to you. Like, awesome, he's got the best food, I promise you.
Right.
My man back home says that if they don't take cash, I mean, if they only take cash, it's a good restaurant.
Yo, listen.
You take cards? Nah, we gotta pack it up. We leaving.
Have you had the halal truck, the halal food on the truck?
Come on, look at me, son. Yo. Yes, I have.
All right, so they got a spot on the East Side.
Yeah.
You know where Lebo's is?
Yes.
And
it's Barrios.
Yeah, Mi Barrio.
Barrios, yeah.
But that's like their restaurant, and I've been going there for years, and everybody kept talking about this halal cart or halal truck, and I was like, "What? I gotta go see it." And I went there. I was like, "This is the restaurant. It's the same people."
Isn't it like half of it Dominican food and half of it halal food? Like
well, I mean, it's all halal.
Yeah, it's all halal food.
But they're Dominican.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, it's dope. But like the chicken over rice is one of the best places in Charlotte, I think.
Yes, with the
whatever that white sauce is,
or the
extra
white sauce.
Extra white sauce.
Yes.
Yeah. Then they got the real hot sauce.
Yo, I had some for lunch the other day. That's the first time I had halal food in a minute. Got it for lunch. I came back upstairs to the office. When I opened it, it was mad white sauce. I almost cried. I was like, all right, like this is real. Put that hot sauce on it, devoured it. Done.
Yeah, my wife, she's from
done.
Her and her family, they're all from Harlem, and they're like, this is the only thing that reminds them of like street food.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Look, you cut my headphones on just to.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, that's all good.
Which one is you?
Everybody's getting inside. Yeah, that's good.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, street meat, the dirty carts on back home is
right.
It's popping.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you're from the East Side. I know you're from Charlotte.
Yeah, man, born and raised.
So what got you into music? Wait, tell me you had a band or something at one point in time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, I was a drummer. I was a percussionist all through. So I always played sports, baseball, basketball, and football. And then I was...
The three majors.
Yeah, and I did band. And then in middle school, I was, started playing drum set. I'd always played like snare drum and concert band stuff. I played drum set and then got in jazz band in school. And then continued to do that through school. Stopped playing football and was in the marching band at West Charlotte. And then I went and I was like on the swim team and I played baseball still for that. And then I went to Central and I still played drums. And by that point, like if you know anybody that's in marching band, especially like a HBCU marching band, it's life. You know, that's
I'm
it.
learning this as
you eat, sleep, and drink marching band. It's super competitive. You got 300, 250 people like that are like your family, close friends. You navigate through this whole world. You don't even need people from the outside. And I got burnt out. I was captain of the drum line at Central.
Nice.
I was doing things like our percussion instructor left, and I was doing things like that as far as invoicing and making sure that we had equipment and writing parts and everything, tuning drums like till 3, 4 in the morning before games.
While you was at the school? While you was a student?
Yeah, while I was a student.
Oh, shit.
And then it got to the point where I was going to go get my master's and come back and be a percussion instructor on a college level. Like that's what I thought my life was going to be. And I got burnt out. But I still love music and I'd been producing and stuff. And that's kind of how I got into engineering. I just popped up at a studio one day. Skaz, he owned Flavor Fruit before it closed down. He was Big Daddy Kane's DJ. It was downtown Durham. And I just would sit outside till he came. Like I didn't even have his cell phone number. Like I would just sit outside of it and maybe for 2 or 3 hours downtown Durham. And this was before it was like whole gentrified and nice, you know what I mean? And I would just sit outside and you make time for the things you want to make time for.
That's right.
And I kind of look for that too, like with new people now. I don't really see a lot of that dedication. Like somebody just won. I don't want somebody to kiss my ass, but can you cuss on this podcast?
Fuck yeah.
All right. I don't want somebody to kiss my ass, but also, it's like dedication. Like you look at how much effort you put into something, and you need to see that in people that you're gonna reciprocate the time to. But to kind of answer your question, I just been doing music my whole life. I just liked it, and I found a way to monetize it in something that not only is a job, but it's like a hobby. I like it when I'm not doing it. So, like I look it up, like you probably look up different cameras and different techniques and different editing things, when you have free time.
Or when I don't.
Yeah, or when you don't, or when you shouldn't be.
I should be driving.
Yeah, and when you're doing that with something, then that's how, that's how you know that you found something you love.
Mm-hmm.
You do that too, Shara?
Yeah, I
do.
You
find yourself writing?
I mean, I'm always I don't have a notebook right here, but I literally carry like maybe 2 notebooks with me in my bag every day because I'm always writing down something. I have a notebook per thing that I'm involved in because I'm always writing. And I have like, my boss is like, can you like start taking digital notes? And I'm like, I need my notebook and my pen. Like, that's just how I am, So between writing and then reading all the articles, and I find myself constantly editing other people's articles, I'll be reading like, there needs to be a comma there. Like, this is a run-on sentence. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, little things like that. It's just...
I'm currently learning English, so yeah, this is great.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Even Grammarly.
It's not that important. Just look at the president. Yeah.
That's true.
That part.
That part, yeah.
That part.
Not to downplay
no.
Your profession by any means.
No.
But,
I mean, I do the same thing too. I've gotten kicked out of multiple places for taking pictures, waiting to get unloaded. Like, I can't go to Cargill on South Boulevard.
Yeah,
it was a guy. There was one day.
You can't go where?
It's a company called Cargill. It's on South Boulevard. Anyway, they like seeds and stuff like that and all that. But anyway, one day this guy was just pressure washing the floor, and I was like, I like the way the mist was coming out. You could barely see him. I was like, that's cool. So I hopped out the truck with my little camera phone and I just took a picture. Actually, I had my camera. Went back in the truck, and about 10, 15 minutes later, somebody came up to me and it was like, "Did you just take a picture?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, you can't do that. So I already had sent it to my phone, so I was like, I deleted it. And then about 5 minutes after that, somebody said you be kicked off the property, you're banned for life.
They're laundering money.
I'm about to say, because I mean, most people,
it's fucking seeds.
Yeah. Most people from a creative standpoint, like, that's a marketing. They'd be like, you taking a picture about my business that might help. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if the picture is good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a cash in hand business.
Yeah, it had to be because
they're trying to make sure everything's straight.
Right. Especially on what part of South Boulevard was this? Because there's certain parts of South Boulevard that is.
This is like a block off of Woodlawn. Woodlawn Road.
Okay, yeah, by Home Depot down there.
By the Pepsi plant.
Oh, yeah. Between like Arrowwood and Woodlawn.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, it's not a party till somebody gets kicked out, but
that's true.
That's what I said.
That is true.
So, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the podcast was because I didn't realize that I've been booking more musicians than anybody else. Mm-hmm. And that's mainly my fault because I just feel like with musicians, how, like I say this all the time, like there's certain, how they say NBA players want to be musicians, or musicians want to be rappers. It's kind of the same way. If I can do something, I'll be a musician, right? What they say. That's what they.
You should do it, bro. Have you heard the music that's out there right now?
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I respect the craft. I respect the artistry. I can't be like.
It's not about artistry. It's about marketing.
I'm not
good. Problem with the music industry.
That's the issue. Yeah.
You need just a face tattoo. That's all you need, right under your eye.
Does it have to be real though? Can it?
I mean,
because
no,
like 6ix9ine,
as long as you can repeat it continuously and people can't tell the difference, you'll be all right.
Because like 6ix9ine, right? 6ix9ine is about to go in I think he's going to go in protective custody.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out where the fuck you going.
Yeah. 6ix9ine. They're just going to have to give a face transplant.
Jesus Amaro said that on their new show. They were like, so you going to put this dude and put him, like, make him work at Best Buy with all these tattoos and his rainbow hair? Like,
my man,
dude, we know it's you.
Where's he going to be safe? I like Mexico.
Yeah, like, cut it out. I thought that was so funny, but yeah. Like, cut it out. Yeah.
But I respect the craft. I would never do that. But the reason why I want you to have you on is because I feel like a lot of people here, I see one thing I respect about North Carolina artists more than anybody else, because it's right here, is the fact that they are really, 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 really hungry doing it. But I also feel like they need to hear from an actual professional the error of their ways. So maybe some advice, and maybe being able to look at you and hear how you did it. Like the first gem you just dropped was literally how you didn't have a phone number, didn't have anything, and you was like, look, I'm going to get this. This is going to happen. I'm going to be at your front door every day.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I want to have you on and just tell your story, man.
I don't know how interesting it is, but
drink up, it would be more interesting.
You gotta drink with me though, because you ain't take one yet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very true.
Peer pressure on me.
All right. So I think you asked me like 2 or 3 different things.
Mm-hmm. Pick and choose.
All right. So I think you're saying, all right. So for anybody that's listening, or anybody that's young or not young and still trying to figure out like why haven't I made it? You know, I guess there's a little more.
Wait, let me guide you. Tell people why they need to go to a person like you and why the money is worth it. Because let me tell you something. I have a Views Radio where I just try to like this, like it's like a mix.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to tell people that when you put people who actually music who actually had it mixed and all that, it sounds better than when yours.
Like when you put it in rotation and things.
Yes. So
all right. Well, that's one point. All right. So the first thing you want to do, you know, the first reason why you would come to somebody like me, is one, peace of mind. You know, I do music all day, mainly urban music, but, you know, urban pop, trap, hip hop, all that stuff. I know what I'm doing, and I know how to do what you want to do. You know, we're not shooting in the dark with your homeboy in the closet somewhere.
That sound good, you know? Bro. That sound good. Right
and that's fine because you got to go through. And I've been that engineer in those days when I'm just got somebody in my closet and I didn't know better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I've taken a lot of time to try to perfect my craft. I'm not at a point where I'd say like I'm perfect by any means or that I've mastered anything by any means, but I'm at a place where I can consistently give you a product on my end
mm-hmm.
that's on an industry level, that's competitive with anything that you hear on the radio or CDs or streaming services.
So let's validate that. Name some of the people you've worked with.
Locally or just in general?
Just name them. Run them off.
I mean, locally I've worked, you know, like pretty much everybody, but the baby, I do mix his albums
mm-hmm.
and I record them sometimes. You know, Elevator J, I work with Loot, I work with let me think who else is out here. People like Eric Lottery, Verbal Van Gogh, that are really, you know, more on the lyrical, on the rapping side of it. Industry wise, currently I'm doing a lot of stuff for 88 Rising, and a lot of people around here don't know who 88 Rising is, but it's an Asian collective. It started off really they focused on viral marketing for their artists, but they are
oh, that's you?
Yeah.
My bad.
You cranked it up on me.
Yeah, I was wondering why this shit wasn't going up.
But you know, 88 Rising they're huge, and they're not only huge in America, on the West Coast especially, but internationally, like China. So I've been doing a lot of stuff for them. August 08, who signed to them, Rebel Records. I also worked for Kane Beats, who was BMI Producer of the Year back in 2010, but he produced Super Bass and Bottoms Up, Bedrock right above it. All when Young Money really started to pop, and Nicki Minaj and Drake and all them started to pop, he was their main producer. And I worked as his personal engineer for about 2 years.
Nice.
In the mid 2010s. I don't even know how to say that decade.
I don't either.
We'll call it the 20. So like 2015 to 2017, 2014, 2000, kind of that range. But, you know, I've done Casey Veggies, Dej Loaf. I've done stuff in Portugal. You know, got gold
These
records.
These are plaques I've seen on the
Gold
studio.
records, Wiz Khalifa, Nicki Minaj.
Yes.
Let's shoot. And then if you want to count feature records like Kidding, 2 Chainz, Kevin Gates. You know, the more you get into the industry, the more you touch bigger things. I did a track with August 08 and Smino recently that just dropped. They're actually dropping a video tomorrow that's super dope. It's called Blood on My Hands. But so yeah, man, it's just sort of just constant experience and hearing things like from the best and from the worst, and like how do you make it, you know, how do I bring that to these new people or these independent people that need that don't have access to this in the Charlotte area, in the Carolinas, really. So
when somebody approaches you to work with you, like what is something that you need to see in them? What is something they need to bring to you?
Money.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
you know, I'm a freelance mixer.
Okay.
I try. See, I don't do a lot of recording. I have super awesome engineer Danny Hurley. He does the majority of the recording at the studio with paying clients.
Mm-hmm.
I do I do more of the sessions with people like your Elevator J or like Lotta or VVG or Lude or.
Yo, Eric is one of my favorite local. Like, I love
Eric Lottery is the best pound for pound rapper. I think so too. In the state, in my opinion.
I think so too.
You know, I think Elevator J, I think, is the best artist out of Carolina. You know, of course, I've worked with the Baby for years, and he's awesome too. You know, and he.
I just shot the industry dinner he had.
Oh, over at
Interscope
at Braza or whatever.
No, Chimas.
Chimas, that's right.
Yeah.
Brazilian spot. Yeah, man, and nobody I've ever seen work harder than how John worked coming up, and you know, you got to give him his props on that. But when you put it into like what the craft, like what do you think? Like what are you judging off? Like I think Elevator J's the best singer in the city. People don't know that.
He sings.
He sings on every single song. You know, if you ever listen to his songs, he's doing like 4 or 5 part harmonies, and they're all like these old classic soul harmonies, and nothing is auto tuned, and nothing like that's all organic.
You can kind of tell the Carolina in him.
Yeah, well, he's got the drawl. He's got like the Beatties Ford drawl. If you ever spend time, like, if y'all ever been on, you spend time. You ever come across those people, and when you talk to them, they're normal, and then when they talk to people where they're from,
it's a different situation.
Yeah, you're like, what language is that?
Like,
if you ever come across, I don't know if y'all know Miko, but there's a guy, Mike Little, awesome dude. He's got company. He tries to do a lot of stuff around the community, like some not a nonprofit stuff, but he owns Harvision, and he's Miko Works on Instagram. But if you ever hear him and Jay talk, it's like you just start nodding your head when they say something. You're like, yeah, man, I feel you. You know.
I call it the immigrant smile. You be like,
yeah, bro. You try to change the subject real quick. But it's just a draw, you know. I mean, I've been around it since I was in high school, so I can hear it better than I can understand it better than I can talk it. But
that's kind of like how people who grew up around West Indian people, you're like, I get it. I can hear it. I can understand it.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, like when they're talking shit. So that's pretty much
like your chill, relax.
But yeah, so you know, in Lotta, when it comes to Lotta's from Fayetteville, but he's been here for a long time. But man, he's just a dope rapper. He's like if J. Cole was a little more street. You know,
thank you.
He's on different beats, and Jake. Like I don't like to compare him to the two, but he's got that same like he paints the picture like Cole paints it.
Yes,
you know.
I mean, I listen to his music all the time. I put people on. I think if you had a stat for how many times either his music or like his last EP when he was singing was shared,
that was just for fun. Like Danny did that whole EP with him.
Oh, really?
I mean, yeah. So like Danny's a big part of.
So that was him. That was on there saying I thought she was going to be singing on one of the tracks.
It might have been.
Okay, I thought that was you. I don't know why I thought that was you.
Now I mixed it at the end, but Danny was kind of the role's a little bit different. Like a lot of work is put in at the recording stage and in that as far as an engineer goes. So when I'm getting these sessions from him, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm more working off of what him and Danny had done. The prior project, I was in the studio a lot more, but I've been doing so many mixes now. It's hard for me to be in the studio with hands-on with the artist as much, but I am still on the mixing and mastering end of it. So, but yeah, props to those guys, man. They put out some awesome music, and it sucks that that's not always appreciated as much as someone that's like some of these young kids that come out and they just yeah. But the cool thing about music too is you got to remember like. All right, I was on the way over here, and I don't know why, just because it was raining and stuff, but I was like listening to Project Pat. And I grew up on Outkast and Project Pat, you know, and it's kind of two different sides of the spectrum. But growing up here, the only rap station we had was Power 98, and all they played was New York music.
Really?
Yeah, man.
I didn't know that.
No.
Yeah, they
don't do that now.
They didn't play anything from because the South is winning.
Yeah,
right? New York is whack.
Stop it!
Wow, that's not
Stop
cool.
it, fam. Podcast over.
No, yeah, you guys got in your bubble too much with the rapping.
You do have to hit like you're absolutely right.
But remember, almost any New York rapper now that's popping is on down south tracks.
Yeah, this is true. When I heard Tekashi,
even the sound is different.
When I heard Tekashi was from New York, I was like,
just like Designer, yeah. Exactly. But
another one that I was like, he's from New York.
But I think that hurt.
That's my man Paulie's
friend. Hurt his career. I can't say what his career is doing now, but it felt like to me like everybody was like, all right, this is too Atlanta to be from Future. New York. Yeah, too Future. But all right, so I go off on tangents a lot. So
let's do it.
I hope nobody's listening for this for like some specific points on a topic because this is going to change 100 times.
Let's do it.
But so grew up Outkast, and Project. Well, 3 6 Mafia.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was listening to it today, and I'm like, wow, this is some wild shit. Like, talking about let's plan a robbery, or I'm still making cheese, riding clean and get my dick sucked. You know? It's like, to hear these things, and I was constantly consumed by them, and now I look down on the kids that are listening to it's pretty much the same content.
It is.
In a different form, and maybe the artistry isn't there as much, the master of the craft isn't
I think
there.
that's the problem. I think that's what the problem everybody has with it. It's because when you grow up with people, I think
at least 3 6 Mafia could rap. Well, minus Crunchy Black.
Crunchy Black was
it's all good.
He was just there.
He added an element that they needed, but he wasn't. You know what I mean? Of course, you had Juicy J and Project Pat and
I just think that, you know what, I think one of the, like, when people say, I hate when people ask me when they say, "Oh, you from New York?" Which, okay, and first of all, I'm not a rap head. I'll put that out there.
Oh man,
I'm not a rap head.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I grew up. My pops was listening to R&B, so I grew up like I like R&B. I'm learning how to be you know what I'm doing? I'm going back in time and appreciating rap that I should have been appreciating back when it was popping.
Agreed.
But if it's not in you from a young age, it's different. It's like you're on the outside looking in.
I've always felt like that.
As far as the appreciation of it or the progression of it, it's a little bit. You know, the first tape I ever got was Crisscross.
Really?
You know, the first CD I ever got was Outkast, AT-Aliens, and my parents got it for me for Christmas. And I used to hide it. I'd try to hide it because all the Outkast CDs have a naked lady on
it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it's like I just loved the music so much. I was always listening to it, but I was always like trying to hide the CDs. Like, oh, they're gonna take it. You know, but they were the ones that were buying it for me. But, you know.
All my rap albums had to be like edited. Like literally, I had to. If I wanted a rap album, it had to like it could not say parental advisory on it, like at all. And it wasn't like, I mean, you know, everybody's like, oh, the Biggies and like the Nas's of the world. Like I wasn't allowed to listen to that stuff, regardless. I mean, because when Biggie and them was, you know, Biggie died, I was 8 years old when Biggie was killed. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I
was a little older.
Like my, you know, my parents wouldn't.
I'm sitting here trying to do the math.
Yeah,
like my parents weren't gonna buy me, you know, like Biggie's first album. Like that wasn't gonna happen. But then when Jay-Z came out, it was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like you can listen to Jay-Z, but it has to be edited. 50 Cent, all of them. Like
DMX was my favorite artist growing up.
I did a session with DMX once.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow. What was that like?
This is the closest I've been to DMX.
He's shorter than I thought he'd be.
Yeah, what is he, like 5'8"?
He is short.
He's a little fella.
5'8", 5'7".
Yeah, he talks just like my father-in-law.
I seen him at a show one time. Like he is hella.
He's little.
A lot of artists are kind of shorter than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
getting shorter. But how tall is Tory Lanez?
Yeah,
is he 5'3"?
No, Tory Lanez is short. Like
him, that beef between him
Jadakiss isn't that tall either.
No, he isn't. He is not. Because I met him. The beef between him and Don Q. Me and my man was just like, look at it. They got a little beef with each other.
It looks a mess.
Some big guy's gonna come in and knock them both over with one arm.
Yeah, like shut up.
Like, stop it.
Shut up.
Like, shake each other's hands.
Yeah, they're like trying to punch each other and they don't even make it halfway.
Now, the DMX was one of my favorite artists because I can close my eyes and I can like visualize everything this nigga's saying. You know what I'm saying?
It's all about painting a picture. That's my judgment of how good are you.
Yeah.
Can you paint the picture?
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of people can't. Like they have a good voice or good beats.
Yeah.
But there's no picture, there's no story.
So people told me that's vibe music though.
So true. I think that's what like J. Cole's my favorite. But that's a cop-out.
Oh,
because you can vibe and still paint the picture. That's what
anybody can get a good beat and vibe their head. Like, okay.
Well, you got to think too. Nowadays, what these cats do is they're an extension of the beat. You know,
facts.
And not to mention, people are taking, they're confusing popularity. What's the best way to attention with skill?
Ooh, that
so
part.
These people are getting more attention. But they're not getting attention based on their skill.
Yeah.
They're getting attention based on the fact that they're drug addicts, that they're, you know, stoned out of their mind. They've got tattoos all over their faces. You know, they're doing things, and this is just my opinion, you know.
No, I think it's everybody's opinion.
And there's plenty of people that have tattoos on their faces that are super cool, super great. I mean, I'm not saying that, but you know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah.
These people that are so strung out on drugs and doing these things, and it's like a shock value.
Like this guy, Blueface. Like, I'm like, why is he? I saw him on the cover of Fader magazine. I'm like, has he reached that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Has he reached that?
I mean, I don't know. It's not. I'm not too familiar with him. All I know is like when I hear the song, like the hook is okay, but like
it's not.
There's certain things like with the artistry, in my opinion, like with the whole rapping off the beat and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, but remember,
it sounds amateur or something.
But it's popular.
Yeah.
You know, what are you going to tell people? Like, do you know how excited I was to hear Slob on My Knob?
I'm still excited to hear that.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna be like, we're gonna be 50 years old. About
but when you talk about somebody, now
God.
the thing is yes, they were able to execute the fact of rapping on the beat. But when you talk about content, I think the best rapper period ever is Andre 3000. Like period. Ever? I don't care what anybody says ever. I think he's the best.
You said look in his eyes. He was like, I want this smoke. Say something.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, I'm biased. You know, I didn't grow up listening to Tupac. I like Tupac now, but I didn't grow up listening to him. I was all Outkast, Goody Mob, little bit of Bun B, Pimp C.
Yeah.
You know,
it's a regional thing
right.
too.
But it's also I'm a big fan of what resonates with me, and so like when I hear Outkast, you know, when I hear these songs. Or like, let's just say now, when you listen to Elevator J, if you're from Charlotte and you live in Charlotte, Elevator J sounds like Charlotte. Mm-hmm. If you're riding around 277, Elevator J is what Charlotte feels and sounds like, you know? So but same way, like if you eat Cajun food, Cajun food's here, good, it's good. But if you go to New Orleans, you go to Lafayette, because of the region, because of the air, because of everything that you're smelling and seeing and just the energy in the place that you are, it makes that food taste better and more relevant. And so it was hard for me to resonate with somebody like Big. It was hard to resonate with Pac because I wasn't on the West because I don't live that.
People say like
that's true because I learned more about NWO.
NWA?
I mean, excuse me.
Wow.
I do that a lot.
I mean,
must have been recent.
NWO was dope.
Sucky and
everything. But
No, that was DX. But yeah, I get it. But I learned more about them as I got older than I did. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I had this conversation the other day with somebody who was like, they were, you know, Tupac's like my favorite rapper. And I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying? They really was like, you know, have you heard Machiavelli? I'm like, yeah. Okay, keep going.
Explain.
Like, you know, explain why Tupac, you know what I'm saying, who really wasn't around that long, you know, why he is put in a category of the greatest. And people ask me all the time, like when I talk to music heads, they're like, you know, who's your favorite rapper? They automatically assume that I'm going to say Jay-Z when they find out where I'm from. And I'm like, my favorite rapper is J. Cole.
Okay.
And they're like, really?
It's a good choice.
And it's like, because of what you said, and it makes now, like, I never really understood why he was, but what you said made me realize why he is, because I can paint the picture. I can relate to things that he's talking about. Mm-hmm. Like why Friday Night Lights was like, when I was in college, everything he was talking about, most of the things I either was experiencing or I had experiencing. You know, like, he talks about things that's why, like, people are like, you don't listen to Future? No, I don't, because I am not a drug addict. I don't drink lean. I'm not from Atlanta. I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
All I hear is a beat.
It just doesn't resonate.
It doesn't at all. Jay-Z, like the sound, like you were saying, like, you know, Elevator J is 277. Jay-Z is the Belt Parkway to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's.
But you've experienced that and you know what it's like up there. And then that's why it's.
Yeah.
You can connect with it a little bit more.
Right.
Like somebody like J. Cole, I remember the first time I heard I saw J. Cole one time open up for Wale in Chapel Hill. Mm-hmm. And people were just looking at him like, will he get off the stage so Wale can get up here? You know, and he was doing stuff off the warm-up, like Lights Please and things like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was like maybe 15 people that were really like, yo, J. Cole is it. Mm-hmm. But everybody else was like, yo, hurry up. We want to hear Wale. This was when Wale was with the Go-Go Band. CCB or UCB or
UCB.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the Sexy Lady and all that stuff. And that was, you know, that was great. But to see like that, and then I remember my buddy when I was in Florida, when I was in school there, I came back and we listened to the warm-up all the way back. Well, I was going to see a girl that I had you know, been with for a while, and we kind of split up because I left and I'd found out some other things. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. But like everything that J. Cole was talking about, you know, I could relate to a sense.
Yes.
You know, or like I heard him, like he had one line where he's like, you know, I'm sitting back thinking where this 20 G's went. I'm like, well, I could relate to that a little bit better than talking about like, hey man, I'm making $1 million and I'm throwing all this money in the club. It's like, hey, you know, 20 G's is a lot of money, but still, like, it's a little bit more realistic to say, hey, you know, he came across something and lost it, and you know, just talking about being in school and smoking or not smoking, or how it, like, I don't know. It's from a place. It's from a much more relatable place to me.
I think that's why,
some
like,
of the stuff.
Wale is the same way to me too. I'm like, I'm not from DC, but I don't know, something about Wale.
I was a huge fan. I liked him before,
Yeah.
Like in the earlier days, the MMG stuff, it didn't connect with me as much.
Because he wanted to be a poet.
It was. No, I don't think. I just don't think he had as much control.
Yeah, and you can tell. I think his label was trying to turn him into the Rick Ross, like the Rick Ross of DC. Yeah. And when you hear More About Nothing and versus his albums, it's like the sound is completely different. More About Nothing is him. That's that DC joint. And then you like what's that song like Diced Pineapples, like Wale? You know what I'm saying, like. Doing poetry on his album on that song is like, it's just not.
Didn't fit.
It didn't. Yeah. I love Wale to death. Like I'm a huge fan, but like that just.
What happened to them though?
Like, Wale's still around?
No, not him. I'm talking about MMG.
Well, Rick Ross ran into all those legal problems, things. I assume.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. I mean,
party done. Banging on the down fence.
It's not that. Well, he had ran into issue on the Rocco song.
Oh yeah, with the,
with the
put a Molly in a drink. Yeah.
And in that in turn he lost. I think some of the sponsorship, and that's like where real money comes from,
Mm-hmm.
Explain sponsorships in this world.
I mean, you got to think if you're getting paid $5 million, to represent Sprite or something.
Oh, okay.
He had the Reebok sponsorship that I think got taken away because of that.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah. But you got to think, how much money are you going to generate in the music industry, especially not as an independent artist? You're not an independent artist. So, you're doing these 360 deals where you're getting money not only taken from your sales or your streaming, but you're getting money taken from your touring. You're getting money taken from your personal appearances, from all your merchandise sales. So, like, you're not making $5 million in a year. But if someone comes in and was like, hey, you're going to do a Sprite commercial for $5 million, and we're going to put you on Sprite posters and on things, you're going to be like, hell yeah. And say it's paid say it's paid quarterly, say it's $4 million, you get paid quarterly, that's $1 million per quarter. Plus you got to pay your manager and all the other people involved in it, and all of a sudden that money gets taken away, and you've accustomed your lifestyle to having that, that $1 million every quarter.
Yeah.
It's gonna be an issue.
That's a question I have for you. So, like, do you think a lot of hip hop artists or just artists in general, they have too many people like around them that, what I'm saying, like, because
it depends on who they are.
Yeah, like I understand you have a manager. Okay, cool.
15%.
Like I never understood
15% for a manager.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot. Like I never like anytime that artists
a good manager. I mean, a decent manager. That's a good deal. 15% is a standard deal. A lot of people do 25, 50%. You got to remember,
50% of
creative people don't have money. The music industry is business-minded people taking advantage of creative people. Creative people are so hungry to get out there and be heard that they'll sign away everything. Like if the idea of someone's like, yo, you can make $50,000 a year doing music. I used to pray to make $50,000 a year engineering. You know what I mean? Like that was like one of my, like, I hope I get to this point. And then if you look at it and you realize, okay, well, this artist just made $50,000 this year, but the people that put up the money for him just made $2.5 million. You're going to feel a certain type of way. You know what I mean? But that happens all the time. Or they'll sign to this person that signs to that person. So then when it comes to the deal, both these people get their cut before you do on your deal, and then you signed away things like your advance money, and that's money for you to live off of. You sign away the money on the back end, so now the label's getting 25% of everything that you make, and then that 75 you're cutting it 50 twice, and it's just the numbers are, people just do dumb things.
I thought NFL contracts was the worst. Who knew?
Yeah, when you get hurt and you don't get paid, that's pretty tough in a sport where
I mean, because I always like anytime I hear like an artist having like money issues, I'm like, why aren't they paying an accountant instead of all these other people that are just around them for, for appearance purposes?
Well, why don't people, when they get their tax refund, do something other than blow it in a month?
This is true.
I haven't gotten mine yet. I can't tell you. I can't answer that question.
And I'm right there with anybody. When I first, I went to Central, and then when I left, I went to Full Sail. And at Full Sail, they kind of tricked me into these loans. But one of the things in these loans was I would get $6,000 every 2-3 months, right? And to me, to get a $6,000 check, as a 22-year-old kid, I never had seen $6,000 in my life. I was gone.
Yeah. First
thing I did was went shopping.
Right.
Went to
that
party.
That refund check
whatever.
Season, yep.
I paid 1 month's worth of bills, and I was like, I'll be straight, Bro, it's a thing. If you've never seen that kind of money, you don't know how to deal with that kind of money. And you'd rather get everything that you thought you'd ever want and be broke because you know how to live broke.
Right.
than to plan it out, be frugal, be modest, but be safe, you know?
Yeah, because every time I try to explain to somebody how to save for like a vacation, right? I always say, if you could just, I use the simplest terms I can think of. Like, how much do you spend on food one day a week, right? And I was like, how much for lunch? If you brought food from home and took that same $6 and saved it, right? How much would you have? Sometimes I go, look, do you have $300 right now? They're like, no. I said, but if you save $1 a day, right? You have it in a year, what? $365.
$365.
Right. And then you keep going each year. So I try to explain that. And then they always come up with the excuses of why it's so hard to save a fucking $7 a week.
But people's lives.
So I can see what you're talking about.
But remember, there's different kind of people in the world. You've got not to put in this broad of category, but you kind of got the sheep and the shepherds, you know. And I didn't figure that out until I owned a business, and not because of the people that I have underneath me, but because of the people I worked for previously. You realize, like, I was doing all this work, you know, at these jobs, like when I worked for the Hilton, or when I worked for an apartment complex, or, you know, when I worked for other studios, and I'm only getting paid, you know, peanuts, while this person gets paid an astronomical amount of money per hour just for having the business, you know? So it's, a lot of people are like, oh, how am I going to get a better job? It's like, no, how are you going to own the business?
Right.
You know, and then the thing is, like, say somebody wants to go to school, which in my opinion is a terrible investment, but it depends on what you go to school for. But we'll just use it as an example.
I want my doctors to go to school.
Right.
Right.
Lawyers, go to school. Well, unless you're just, you know, you don't even need that. If you're good, you know, money talks. But the way I look at it is, what's the best way to describe it? Say you want to go to school, right? And you're like, man, I just don't have time, right? I'll start it in 6 months, or I'll start it in a year. Well, 5 years down the line, you're like, hey, I still never went to school and I'm still in these dead-end jobs. But if you had just started, just took an online class, just did one class a semester, you know, you'd still be almost there in 5 years.
Right.
You know, and people don't look at it that way. It's like playing the long game. Yep. Nobody's willing to play the long game. Like, I've met people that come up, like, I got a friend, Brandon, and I don't like to say this like about people like I'm playing them, because I'm not. I'm just establishing relationships a long time ago. And regardless, if I don't talk to you, but every 2 months, every time we talk, it's something. And if there's a situation I can bring you in on, I will. If it's not, I'm not going to force it. But, you know, who knows? Now, you told me a long time ago that you wanted to do photography for concerts and live shows. And that's what you're doing. And I didn't have anything to do with that. But it's dope to see you doing it. And I know that now if there's a situation like, hey, we need a photographer, I'm going to be like, yo, my guy Glenn can do it, you know?
Which he has.
Right? But
put out there.
So the way I look at it, like, I got a buddy who started out as a manager of an artist. I like the artist, but I found out that I really liked this other guy. And he came and he kept doing it and kept going, and he went to school. And now he's an A&R at Rock Nation, you know?
Nice.
And now, because I kept that relationship cool and tried to guide him any way I can, now he's reciprocating that time and effort that I put into him 5 years ago.
You
know? And I wasn't like, hey, man, I got to go straight to Bruno Mars right now. That's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I've been working with the baby. He was coming to my house 4 years ago. You know, listening to mixes in there and critiquing it. And now at this point, when it comes and he's got to deal with Interscope, like, he comes back and uses me to mix, and he doesn't have to do that. And that's dope. But I established that relationship a long time ago with him, and we kept it good, you know, and in business and all this stuff, like, yeah, sometimes the situations aren't ideal. Sometimes the deadlines are too pressed and all that. And if I lose my cool over it, you know, they may not deal with it. But if I know he's trying his best and he's grinding hard, let me help out in any way that I can, that hopefully that some of the fruits of that labor I'll see in 2 or 3 years.
That's actually that's been my philosophy with a lot of things. A lot of people are like, oh, no, I'm good.
Right. Because
the money, I'm gonna blow it on Amazon right now. It's gone. But the relationship is what is basically what I'm looking for.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely understand that. Explain to people the difference between. Okay, I remember one time you had a conversation. I think we had a conversation before this about a producer and a beat maker.
So a beat maker is what all these people that you hear their tags on. All right. So what a producer does is they create a song, start to finish. And what they'll do is they'll use people like beat makers. Now, what's happening is beat makers are putting themselves out on, let's say, a digital platform, so where they can reach more people, and they're not doing things in the studio as much. So So they're getting credit for producing the song, but really they're just programming the beat, right? The producer, a lot of times your engineer is probably in there producing it more than anything, telling you when to do this and when to do that, and the artist is producing it on his own. But a beat maker really just makes the drum pattern, makes all the little parts in his beat. A producer will go back and take all those parts, add more if he needs to, take them away, do different drops in the beat, bring in a guitar player, a bass player, bring in, a background vocalist or a songwriter and say, hey, we need to redo this. And the producer is really the one that turns like a good song into a great song, like Kane. Kane is an amazing producer, and I see why, he is the producer that he is and gets the credit that he is. Super Bass is the most selling female rap record of all time. And
I don't know why.
But I mean, it is. Well, it's Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
Taylor Swift co-signed it, and it kind of blew up overnight. But it's still, you may not like it, but it's a good song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
It's a good song. But as far as greatest, greatest.
Are you still mad about the Beyonce thing?
What Beyonce thing?
Never mind.
But but what he did, he had a team of producers, and a lot of these producers would make the beats, and he would make beats too. But they would bring him the beats, and what he would do is he would take those beats that they made and then blow them out, just blow the brains out of them.
Yeah.
And so you look at somebody like Timbaland. Well, who are the producers behind Timbaland?
Right.
Everybody gives Timbaland the credit, but you know who his two main producers were? Or I'm sure you have more, but Scott Storch.
Right.
Scott Storch is an amazing producer. He did everything from the stuff for Terror Squad, Lean Back.
Yeah.
He did a lot of stuff for Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River.
Yeah.
He also did
Big Dog at one point.
Yeah. You Got Me by The Roots.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Exactly. Right.
I didn't know that.
He's so super talented.
Wow, that sound is wow.
Right.
Okay.
That's how talented. The thing is,
That's dope.
Still Dre. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that was his beat. Yeah.
Nice.
I saw the documentary when he talked about
Scott Storch is amazing, and also a guy named Danger Hands. Danger Hands is a crazy
never heard of him.
Pop producer. But Timbaland was the face, and there was things that Timbaland can bring to it that blew those out of the water. And by being under Timbaland, these guys learned the craft too, and eventually went on to do their own thing. But that's the producer makes the hit record. The beat maker just makes the beat. And a lot of these kids nowadays, they're getting off being like, yo, I produced this track. You made the beat. But if no one else is going to challenge you on this, go ahead and take your 50%.
And that's I'm glad you said that. I think a lot of things I see your face right now. I think a lot of the problem with the industry now and in this whole society is no one pulls cards. So that you'll never.
There's no gatekeeper.
Yeah, there's no gatekeeper. So you will always.
There's no process.
I can say.
Everybody gets an access card.
Yeah, I can say I did everything.
No, that's not true. There's a lot of people that are approachable, but they're not accessible. There's a lot of situations that are approachable, but they're not accessible.
What do you mean?
It means that you can approach the situation or think that you have access to the situation, but you really don't.
Oh, okay.
A lot of people confuse the two. They just think it as, oh, I wasn't the right thing, or I wasn't, they're hating or this, that. Just because you talk to this person, you approach this person, doesn't mean that you had access to any of the situations or any of the being able to benefit from it, being able to being chosen for placement. You could be a dope producer, but if you're a jerk and nobody likes you,
right,
they can just get somebody to redo your beat.
This is true.
You know what I mean? Or if you come in and you talk too much around people that are from the old school game, you're gonna mess it up. I can tell off gate how deep in the industry someone is, and I'm not even deep in the industry. I'm I worked for 10 almost 15 years to get on the other side where I'm consistently working with regular artists. I'm not even working with the big superstars, and that's okay because I still have to work to get that.
Exactly.
I'm only 33.
Okay.
I've been doing this since I was 18, but hopefully within the next 10 years, that's my goals. To be on Grammy projects and things like that.
Yeah.
But you don't have as much access as you think you do now. There's availability, you have ways of getting out better than you used to, with the internet and whatnot. But those people nobody will ever take a chance on someone. They only want sure things. So the only way you're going to get on really coming up is with somebody else that's coming up. You're not. It's going to be really hard for you as this up and coming producer to do a beat for Jay-Z.
Right.
To do a track for I could never engineer. Well, I could, but it would be really hard for me to mix a track for Bruno Mars or somebody, because they already have a group of people that they trust, that they know, that they go to.
Yeah.
It would have to be like some random stars aligned situation. But I could keep working with these up and coming people and say they blow up, then everybody wants to work with me.
That's true. It's just like that. There's whoever, I forget her name, but she's a 21-year-old songwriter out of New Jersey, and she wrote, I think she wrote "Be Careful" for Cardi B, and she wrote something else for Cardi B. So now that Cardi B won this Grammy or whatever, I saw an article was like, meet the 21-year-old songwriter, who's still living
Grammy award-winning songwriter.
Exactly. Yeah, she's a Grammy award-winning songwriter for Cardi B, and nobody knows that this chick lives in Newark and like, you know what I'm saying, like just chilling. So now it's like, because of this, you see this article, you see, okay, so she did this to Cardi B. Now she's getting ready to work with, this person and that person. It's like, and I just thought that's really, really dope.
But remember, Cardi B came up.
Yeah.
She came up
out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, but she was grinding. She was grinding before she got on Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah.
But the thing about her on Love and Hip Hop is that, now my wife watches Love and Hip Hop, and she makes me watch it with her and not be on my phone. But
put it down.
Yeah. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, you're not even talking to me.
You're not even watching.
Like,
she just looks at me. Yeah. But, from watching that show, Cardi B had a good personality.
She did.
Most of the people on there, the way that they're perceived, and it could be in editing or whatnot, is more of like on the negative side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Cardi B is someone that you liked and that you rooted for.
And she was entertaining.
And she was always focused on music. Every episode that she was on, like she let you know from like, I'm here to work towards this. It wasn't like I'm here to deal with this nonsense.
Yeah,
and
she didn't want the beef. She didn't want all that.
It was all about getting to that next step. I know DJ Self is hurting himself right now, but anyway.
I heard that wasn't even real though.
I mean, it's neither here nor there. The thing is, because you don't know what's real on those shows.
That's true.
You don't know what's real. You don't know how far along they are before they get on there. They could have been planning this, and they threw her on that show to get recognition. Before she dropped. But a funny thing about the Cardi B situation, and we were talking about before, is she's an Atlanta rapper.
She is.
Right?
Yeah.
She's on Atlanta Beach. She's got an Atlanta delivery. Now, females, to me, are the only artists now that can actually still rap and be accepted. Men can no longer rap. The only people like J. Cole or Jay-Z that are established. New rappers cannot rap without melodies. It just gets turned down. It just gets shot down.
I didn't think of it that way.
But females now
that's true.
Can come out spitting bars and just going hard straight rapping, don't have to sing.
Like Megan Thee Stallion. I keep saying this chick on social media.
Yeah.
I think she's out of Houston. And but I heard a couple of her freestyles. Like she actually
Have you heard Armani Caesar?
No.
She's local. Oh, she's based out of Charlotte, but she can really rap. And she has like the whole she has the whole like the model look to her, like, and
she's gorgeous.
I mean, I'm married.
Is she
that's but I mean, someone that textbook you would say is an attractive person for 2019.
I see what you did there.
But no, I mean, real talk is I'm happily married, and I just don't really think that way anymore. It's not.
You don't need those problems.
It's not. I don't look at somebody like, hey, I'm attracted to this person, but I do look at him in a sense of, hey, you're a marketable individual, because that's the problem with the industry too. Like, there's some really awesome artists that have great music, and it doesn't even matter how they look. Like people like Daniel Caesar, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I heard him for forever before I ever saw how he looked, and it didn't even matter. You know, but he's not what you would call like a textbook,
R&B artist, yeah.
Right. This heartthrob.
Yeah. Trey Songz dudes, yeah.
Right.
I feel you. I have a question for you, because they were talking about LeBron James was an A&R for 2 Chainz new album, I believe.
What is an A&R?
Or no, I'm sorry, not an A&R. Like, I think he was like a producer, or he had something to do with 2 Chainz new album. And I said, and I think I had tweeted, somebody called me a hater, and I was like, I don't think it's me being a hater. Basically, I was like, so LeBron James, I mean, I don't know LeBron James personally, but I don't know if he has, musical talent like that, because he's marketed himself as a basketball player. So it's like for him to go from playing basketball to dabbling in TV, and now all of a sudden, he's getting credit on these albums. All of a sudden, it's like, to me, it was kind of like, because of who he is, that's how he's doing this. When you have, people like you or other people coming up that's been grinding to get those type of opportunities, like, do you feel some type of way sometimes that people like LeBron and others are just kind of taking those opportunities from you guys?
Absolutely not.
Really? Why?
Yeah, I'm not a hater.
Okay.
And I mean, it's not that I would hate on him or anything like that. Do you know how many opportunities there are?
That's true.
There is so many opportunities. There are so many amazing artists. There are so many people that if I maybe worked a little bit harder and tried to find one of these guys coming up in the next 5 to 10 years, I could be there and I could be calling these shots. I just haven't put in the right work in the right place to be where he's at. Now, yes, his talent has got him through the doors, where other people may have had more skill to begin with.
Right.
But regardless, 2 Chainz album was straight.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
So
is that Shorty right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I seen her videos.
Yeah, and she's a,
my bad.
She's a, she cut some really good and lyrically, she's talking about her lifestyle, but it is what it is. But when we're talking about like people like LeBron James and whatnot, like that's awesome that he's in a position to do that. Like I think a lot of times people put it as because someone's doing this, someone else doesn't get to do it. But it's not like that. The world's not like that. You know what I mean? Like there's so many opportunities out there, and you just have to be willing to work for them. You just have to be willing to put in the time and put in the effort. And so you don't have the skills, you don't have the connections that LeBron James has.
Right.
So you're just not gonna do it?
That's true. That's true.
Get on your grind. You can do anything. This is America. You know what I mean? For the most part.
Right.
Within reason. Of course, the system is set up, kind of in these social boxes. But within that, you can really maneuver if you try.
Yeah.
It's sort of like if you say, my dad was an alcoholic, so I'm an alcoholic, right? Or you say, my dad was an alcoholic, so I'm not an alcoholic.
That's true.
It's all in how you look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all like, I didn't get that job because LeBron got the job. Where you're like, I'm gonna get a better job because they already had LeBron covering that. I'm gonna keep working it.
Yeah.
And keep grinding.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're right.
But everybody is entitled to their opinion and how But what I've done recently too, and this is kind of more about life, is you just can't let things affect you. Like him doing that has no effect on my life.
That's
so
true.
Me putting any type of energy into it is pointless.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. To me, it is, but that doesn't mean that it's pointless to you. And that doesn't make what I'm saying is right or wrong, but that's what I try to live by because you'll stress yourself out.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good, because when I first learned it, I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Because I immediately think about other people's like what LeBron just did, that probably could have gotten that opportunity. So in my mind, I'm like, oh,
all right. So I got a question for you then. So how do you feel about people who aren't writers who get opportunities to write for like...
Wait, say that again.
People who are not writers who get an opportunity to write for like the Daily News as an opinion piece or something like that.
I think writing versus like producing music is a different type of skill. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like writing, you need a computer and you just know how to write. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just about a play on words. Now, I can tell you this, there'd be certain pieces that I have read by, I guess celebrities, but in that I'm like, we didn't need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you're not a writer for a reason. You know what I'm saying? But there's other pieces that I have written, like when Gabrielle Union wrote a piece for, not the LA Times, I think it was the Hollywood Reporter. And I was like, she told a story. You know what I'm saying? You can tell when some people have something to say versus, and a lot of these publications literally would just reach out to a lot of these people because they need that type of traffic. They need that type of attention. You know what I'm saying? For marketing purposes. But when you actually have something to say, when you have a story to tell, it's almost like having a podcast. It's just different. It's a little different.
I'm on both sides of the platform on opinion on this when it comes to photography. So
all you need is the right shot.
Nah, see, here's my problem with it. I see what you're saying because I'm growing up in New York. I was always told that there's 8 million opportunities. So, but all you need is one yes. Right? That's all you need. So I get that part of it, right? Like, it doesn't matter who's doing it. All you need is one yes and you're straight.
That's true.
Then on the other side, I feel like it's my part where I feel like I lean more to. Apple just came out with a new phone. They got a commercial where they're teaching you about, they're casually teaching you about bokeh, right? Now, you probably don't know what it is, but it literally is just like when I can make the background so out of focus that it makes it dreamy in a sense, right? I use it's a tool to focus, to get your eye to focus on where I need you to go, right? But the fact that Instagram, we share people who are who believe this shit and love this shit and feel this shit, can now share a platform with people who want to take fucking selfies.
I get what you're saying.
And now Apple is making it so readily available, so easy. The shit that took me forever.
I get what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? So now
no. You adapt or you become extinct.
Yeah, I know. That's true. You got the choice.
You have to adapt or you become extinct. And you can still fight these things. It could be because you put so much time and effort into learning it, but you're going to run into situations when you need that professionally and you don't have those filter options and you can do it and you can pull it off and you get the gig and then it's going to pay off. But what you're doing is you're comparing yourself to people that are beneath your level. And you can't ever do that in life.
But a lot of those people are winning.
Because you're looking at it the wrong way.
Okay.
They're adapting to the platform. And what you're thinking of winning is just social media.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, just because someone has a whole bunch of followers or all right. Every time, I remember I got my first platinum plaque last summer, 2 summers ago or something like that. And I remember putting it up there. And I was like so happy, and I got 200 likes or whatever, which is maybe 150 more than I would normally get. And all I kept thinking was, and the next day I saw all these people still posting, and I'm like, man, I'm not doing anything, But these are just people that, live in their mom's house and post 20 posts a day. I'm in the studio today. I'm cutting this. You see me walking down the street and eating a sandwich, and you're like, oh shit, I'm doing nothing with my life. You know what I mean? So what I had to do is I had to realize, like, I am winning, because I'm okay with who I am. Like, that, where were you at last year? Were you in a better or a worse place than you are this year?
Oh, I'm in a way better place this year.
Right, so you're in a better place.
Yeah.
Right? So compared to where you were at and where you are now, you're winning, bro. And where you're at next year is going to be even better. Right? Because you're not stopping and you're not hating on people because of their Instagram filters. You're learning why that filter does that and why it does this and where you can go with that. And it's like, well, I know that I've reached my full potential here. Now, how can I use these to take myself to the next level? And you're going to fail and you're going to mess up and you're going to feel real bad. And then you're going to figure out why you failed and you're going to do it again. And then next year, you're going to be in a better place. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you're winning. And so don't look at all the amount of their content to determine that they're winning.
That's true. I get what you're saying.
You just said a lot.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Because that's true. You don't want to look at. You don't want to make your life.
You're judging your life off other people,
right? Too. You don't want to do that. Yeah.
Which, in our defense is what we were taught to do. Everything we do in life is based on our comparison of what we think is perfect, and we always think it's greener on the other side. We always think this person's life is better. We always think that they're happier because of whatever we see. No, we're real transparent now. So like now we know, we know the difference. The only problem I have, again, the only problem I can't get over is I don't like sharing the same platform with. Then don't share it. You have the option to not share. No, not my work. Meaning like the actual platform. Like I don't want to always. There's a shorty out in New York. She has like 2 million followers, and it's just nothing but self. It's not even how does she look? Ass, something like that. It's just selfies, and I'd be like, right. But no, but you're comparing yourself to someone taking selfies, and you're a true photographer. Why is that even on your? Regardless if she's got 2 million, why is that even on your radar? What is she like? What does she look like? Yeah, is she what quote unquote would be attractive in 2019? Is she Bernice? Is she nah? Not even. Like I mean, I don't get. Listen, let me tell you something. I remember a time before the internet, so it's a lot of times with me the internet is kind of like a weird place. Is her hair 4C or what? I don't know. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's straight. It's like doll hair. And it's her page is all pictures of her. Face. Selfies. So that'd be a good track though. But why are you okay? So why at all? Obviously, this is on your mind. No. It's well, you brought it up. No, I brought it up to be a devil's advocate. But we can go now. Let's go. Let's be honest about it. You brought it up. Really. So you have to do some soul searching. Why? It's more of an interest than anything else. Interesting. It's interesting to you, but it seems to bother you. Why does it bother you? Okay, let me give you this. So, I've heard people. So I remember when Timbaland and Scott Storch got into their little beef. One of the things that Timbaland said on one of his tracks, I think it was the one with Nelly Furtado and Justin Timberlake. He was like, "I'm a real producer, and you're just a piano man." Right. So I don't know what the real beef is. I didn't know what was going on. But from what I got from that is that one man thinks that I do more work than what you do, and he must have been getting upset at the fact that
maybe he's like, don't compare me to you. We're just two different people. But Scott Storch was fucking big. And so maybe that irritated him. I can't speak for him. I don't know. I'm just saying it's not about getting big. I do this because it's a passion of mine and it's fun. And it's something that, it's therapeutic. It's a lot of things. I meet people, you know what I'm saying, doing it and stuff like that. The platform I was talking about is like, if there are certain platforms where like Flickr, I used to love Flickr, but Flickr is not as popular anymore.
No.
But it was only for people who loved photography. And it's sad that Instagram has gotten so big and become such a juggernaut in the game that now Flickr is like an afterthought. If you tell somebody to go to your Flickr page, they're like, what the fuck is that? And that's the problem I have with it. It's like, I don't want to share the same space as somebody who wants to take selfies. That's fine, but there should be another space for you over there that if you want to go there, then fine. Like Vine was a thing, but if you was good with 6 second, you were funny and went doing videos for 6 seconds, that was fine. But now we share the same space as Vine people, as selfie people, as, you know what I'm saying?
So now I'm going to say this, and I want you to take this, with the most constructive
facts. Go ahead, shoot your shot.
Way you can do it. That's a worker mentality. All right.
Okay.
Because you need someone else to provide for you what you know needs to be provided. You know that there needs to be another platform for people like you and the people that take things as serious as you do. Why are you not developing this platform?
Facts. True. We're going to edit that out.
Right? That's fine.
I don't think so, because I
don't want nobody else to do it.
Somebody else might need to hear it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
you're right.
So that's how you have to look at it. And when you take that filter off of I can't or I'm not able to, you don't know if you're able to or not because you haven't tried it.
That's true.
And you have the mentality if someone needs to make it so that I can be a part of it, why not just make it and make other people be a part of it? Yeah. And it may not be good, but look where this started.
Yeah.
And of course, you're probably not where you want to be with it, but at least you're having good conversation with some cool people.
Facts.
With the people that you want to, where you can reach out to somebody and they're like, hell yeah, I'll come on and talk to you,
Facts.
And you got people around you that you trust and all that stuff because you felt like in Charlotte, you wanted to hear from the people about the things you wanted to hear about, so you created it. It's the same concept, right? You got people that live out in San Francisco, right? That have a startup. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sherelle.
I apologize. I just met her today. I don't want y'all to think I'm a jerk.
You good. Don't even worry.
But you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that you would use her connections, but if it really got to that point and you were like, hey, I need to develop this app, you're one step removed from someone that could at least point you in the right direction.
Facts,
you have to use. So you have these things at your fingertip, and a good idea, of course you may not be able to do it on your own, but you have to have the mentality of I'm going to start it. We needed a studio in Charlotte that looked good and sounded good. We have studios that sound great but look bad. We have studios that look great, sound bad. And the ones that have them both are way out of the range of the artist. So that's all I did. I just made one that looked how I wanted it to look and sound how it needed to sound.
Where's your studio located?
Oh yeah,
between Beatties Ford and Brookshire Boulevard on Montana Drive, the 85 Service Road.
Cool.
Yeah, we never got that. I was so excited to have you on, and I didn't say that. So what's the name? Say the name of tell everybody the name of the studio that you.
Black Pearl Studios.
Black Pearl Studios.
Yeah.
I'm not there just trying to drive by.
First of all, then when you come in, they got to change.
I'm probably gonna have a little get together in a week or two. You guys are more than welcome to come. I'll probably get some crab leg trays or something. And just a bunch of drinks and people hanging out, listening to music. All the local people that hang out at the studio. So
that'd be cool.
Y'all are more than welcome.
Is it going to be on a weekday?
Well, I can do it. When do you need to be done?
Weekends.
Yeah, weekend.
Yeah, weekdays is hard for me.
Yeah. I'm free in a week. Free weekdays after 4:30, unless I'm traveling.
Yeah, we already established that it's going to be on the weekend.
Unless I'm traveling.
But like I said, you guys are good people. You are more than welcome anytime I'm there. You're all more than welcome to swing by. I'm not always there, but but I do think it's important when I touch on that. Like, I talked to my wife about this because she's an aspiring author, and it takes a lot of pushing for when people haven't taken that step to do it. Like, fail. Go ahead, fail. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been at the mall and you ever hollered at a girl? Just out and about, just
your mom or something.
Right, just like that, right? Right. She turns her nose up at you, right?
Your light skin, come here.
Right, but you get a little nervous right before you do it. Your heart's racing a little bit, but you come up, you spit the weak game, she shoots you down. Do you ever like, oh, I hate myself?
No,
you're like, hell yeah, hollered at her. She didn't even like it, but I hollered at her.
You in an F you bitch type.
Right, and then you learn, you're like, all right, well, next time I might say hey miss instead of hey girl. You know?
Hey light skin.
Let me try hey miss.
Yeah, that's a exact way. That's a perfect way to feel.
That's that Jamaica Ave.
And then you come back and you're like, all right, well, hey miss didn't work, so let me say, excuse me. You know, let me try that. We're in the South. Excuse me, right? But
you grab them.
Every time you fail, you tried. And it's like being a cool person, being a real person, being anything in life is never about knowing what to do. It's about knowing what not to do. It's like we talked about. Yeah. If you ever go to an HBCU homecoming, just figure out what not to do and you'll be all right. You know, fast though.
Quick.
Real fast.
But life may come at you very fast.
But that's how any job is. Like you're going to fail and you're going to fail 10 times. Start failing today. Why wait 2 years to start failing at the same thing you would have failed at today?
I agree with that.
2 years later.
Yeah. I tell people who get into photography, I always tell them, I say, the first 1,000 pictures you're going to take will be trash.
1,000, 10,000, 100,000. You know what I mean?
Like you're going to get lucky, but before you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yo, Cav, man, this has been fucking fantastic. I couldn't even...
There's so many people that I'm going to send.
They're cutting me off. They don't want to hear right now.
No, you said so much, and there's so many. There's a few people, like, as you were talking, there's a few people I'm like, I need to make sure that they hear this episode because there's certain things that you said. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I appreciate that.
I think it was kind of necessary. I needed to hear things that you said. You know what I'm saying?
You're gonna start your own magazine. You're gonna
do it. Why not?
What's the worst
I am not gonna start a magazine, but there might be something else I'm going to start.
You should do it.
I be doing so many other things, so I might as well.
And then when you do that, it may adapt into something else. And you know, just don't be scared to do it. And you know, just another thing I think is really important is to stay morally sound while you do it.
Yes, that's the
you know what
part.
I mean. Do things that are within your character. Don't lie to people. Don't go back on your word. Don't do all this stuff. And then you don't ever have to look over your shoulder.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't ever have to beat yourself up because we beat ourselves up worse than anything. And a lot of times because we just lie to ourselves.
Yep.
So be honest with yourself. And be honest with the people you deal with and you will be just fine. And don't spend all your money on it because you might go broke.
Right.
But put a little bit into it.
That's definitely going to happen. You're going to go broke. Yo, Kev, put your social media and everything out there.
Yeah, you can catch me at the only thing I'm on is Instagram. So Black Pearl Mixed It. Also the studio is BPS Recording 704, I believe. But yeah, you know, you can come check out. I normally only post like the records that are dropping that I do and maybe a little bit of my family. So it's not super interesting, but you can always get an idea. And if you want to reach out, bpsrecording@gmail.com if you want to inquire about mixing or recording or mastering or anything like that. I'll take care of it. If you mention the podcast, I'll give you 10% off.
Oh, fat. Oh, hey. So imagine what a V
for your
VG.
First mix.
Be specific.
In Studio B.
It doesn't be okay.
Someone should reply. The dude of
Verbal Van Gogh.
Is it VVG 704?
That's right.
All right, we gotta definitely. I wanted to holler at him.
You want a bar spitter? That's a bar spitter for you right there.
Is he from Cali?
No, he's from Charlotte.
Yo, I swear to God, okay. So I went to
He's from the east side.
I didn't know that.
There's so many.
I didn't know that.
I have a confession.
What?
Like, remember, so last time I was on the show, you were talking about the baby. Mm-hmm. That was literally the first time I ever heard that name before. And ever since you said it, I can't stop hearing about this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally, you were like, the baby. I'm sitting here like, yeah.
You know, he's got like the number 4 album on Apple Music right now.
Yeah, I had no idea who this guy was. And then I saw, like, when CIAA was coming up, like, yeah, the baby gonna be here. The baby gonna be here. And then I saw your pictures. I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. Like, I heard one song in my head and I was like, okay, cool. And then now I'm learning, like, I was talking to somebody that's been kind of following him for a long time, and they were like, somebody was like, he puts on more for Carolina more than J. Cole does, but that's their situation. I don't know. You know, but
it's subjective.
Yeah, they were saying
definitely more Charlotte.
More Charlotte.
And I think they were like, you know, like, this guy is straight Charlotte. So I mean, I plan on listening to his album. It might not be my cup of tea, like his type of music, but I'm like, if I'm gonna live here, I might as well support somebody that's from here. You know what I'm saying?
So
hardest working artist I've ever dealt with.
That's what I was gonna tell you.
That's what I keep hearing.
I've ever dealt with.
When I first met him, I was doing my barber. Shout out to Touch of Precision Barbershop. My man Ev, he was throwing shows, and historically in Charlotte, when a predominantly white venue or rock venue or whatever starts to let us in, they basically on their way out the door. They just taking any money they can get, and so consistently. So the Tremont Music Hall was they did a show there. And it was him. It was J-Way Sosa. There's a bunch of other acts, and just to let you know, that was like a year before or like 6 months before you started hearing I'm thinking baby Jesus.
Well, see, that's very old.
That's the old song. But it was weird when I heard him because I remember my first reaction to him was like, that's really bold to be calling yourself baby Jesus.
Baby Jesus.
I do too.
You still say this baby Jesus in my phone, so you know what I mean? Like,
but from that moment, when the feeling I had when I heard him, like his music, the song was hot, and the performance he put on was pretty good. To now, in that short amount of time, I mean, I heard him on this, I don't know if it was Vlad or somebody else. He was like, it took him longer than he thought. But the fact that he went from there to there and he stayed true to what he was. And like you said, everybody keeps saying he's one of the hardest working artists you're going to see. Right.
I'm gonna.
It was pretty cool to see. You know, I like his music.
He also pays on time.
Does he?
Yeah, absolutely. Like he was willing to invest in himself. Like he paid for better videographers, or he got the right engineering, and got the right recording, the right mixing, the right production. And it was never hey man, I got you, or help me out. It was like, here, let me take care of you. And I can't say I have the utmost respect for him because I've seen where he came from in the grind. And there's a lot of things that have happened outside, and that's nothing for me to judge or to speak on at all. But a lot of people have a lot of opinions, but he's very smart. He's very honest,
confident.
At least to me, he's always been, and I've never heard of anything otherwise in the industry. And he has that star appeal, and not only is that, but he comes back to Charlotte for it. He used Carolina producers. He could have used all industry producers. He could have used mixers and studios and all this stuff in other places, and he didn't. He brought it back to Charlotte.
He wanted that sound, right?
Yeah. I mean,
and that's love, bro. Yeah. Like, people don't do that. People don't do that.
Especially not. That's the knock on Charlotte. Is that?
Well, we're not a mecca. We're not a hub. I mean, when you're trying to do it on that level, it is what it is. And you can't hold it against them if they decide to go and do that.
Yeah, man. He said it in that Walker Texas Radio. He said, "I'm not from Atlanta. I'm from Charlotte. It took me a little longer."
Yeah, it does, and that's true. But you know what? He did it from Charlotte. He didn't conform. He didn't go to Atlanta and like, all right, I'm gonna pop out of Atlanta. Like, no, he popped out of Charlotte.
And I tweeted that. I say, hey man, he gave you the blueprint.
Like Usher,
right? Yeah, but people don't have that work ethic. They don't. Artists don't have that work ethic.
They want to get there.
They will. Now. Yeah, everybody wants now, but nobody's willing to put in the long. Absolutely. Yeah. They want the they want the likes. They want all this stuff, and they're willing to stay in their bubble to get it. So he was willing to grind to get it, and he got it. So props to him.
Shout out to the baby. All right, Sherelle, put yours out there.
What?
Social media.
Okay. Hold on, I always forget if there's an underscore before my name or after my name. I always forget. Okay, so you can follow me.
No one knows their social media.
It's too many underscores.
It's saved in my phone.
Okay, so y'all can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's _Sharelle B. That's SHARELLEB. Keep it simple. And that's on all platforms on Twitter. Well, Twitter and Instagram. That's all I got.
Yeah.
And you can follow the other show, Head Wraps and Lipsticks. Twitter at Headwrap Pod and Instagram at Headwraps and Lipsticks, and our Facebook page Headwraps and Lipsticks the podcast. Also go to our website headwrapsandlipsticks.com. Make sure you cop a t-shirt. We got them t-shirts. headwrapsandlipsticks.com/shop. They only $25. They are free shipping. Y'all know how y'all feel about shipping. That's enough.
So I guess it's my turn.
Yeah.
So first of all, you can follow the podcast Instagram. Shout out to my man Paulie. People don't know. People think sometimes they go, "Is that you? That's you." I'm like, no, it's not me. My little bro Paulie, when we had to go create podcasts, was he was a host, one of the hosts. It was three of us, and first I thought it was me and Paulie, and Paulie moved to New York, and obviously, we just couldn't do it anymore. So he's always been behind the scenes. Thoughts, people you should talk to, things in that way. Like, yo, bro, you can tap into this. And I mean, he's my little bro, and he's always tapped in. So I was doing I was actually doing it, and it was just hard, man. It's just hard to just constantly put out stuff, especially when I feel like I'm in my own bubble, and a lot of times I don't notice other stuff around me. So I went out and I said, yo, Paulie, can you just take over the Instagram? He's like, bro, yes.
But the best thing you can do is have someone that you trust.
Yeah.
On that, because, man, you get so busy.
Yes.
When you're busy, man, it's just you can't put the effort in that you need to. So
it's not enough time. Yeah, not enough time.
If anybody wants to run my social media, holler at me. You got it.
Yeah, for real. And so he just went out there, and the love that the page has been getting. Now, mind you, again, it's not where we wanted to be. It's going to get there, but it's all Paulie. So definitely follow him because he's also an artist himself. dysf.paulie, Paulie, and because I'm actually gonna put that curated by him in the bio, so people can know that it is. So definitely check out him, but definitely follow us on Instagram. It's V_EWS_ because the guy who has V_EWS would not let us be great. He just won't come up with that. You can follow me on Instagram at Bird BYRDEYE. Bird_I_view. And I is EYE. And then again, the guy who has that won't let me be great, so I had to put an extra underscore.
Trash.
Yeah, but the cool thing is it's the same thing on Twitter. I'm a little bit more opinionated on Twitter. You get more of my personality on Twitter.
Mixtape.
Yeah. And so definitely we have if you have Apple Music, I still haven't gotten to the Spotify thing yet. So if you go into our bio, there's a link where you can find the latest episode of Views Radio, which is a mix by me. I listen to music all day, and I just decided, like, hey, I saw the score too. I saw the score. You can't even. The Knicks is something that you just can't. You just gotta wait till next year. Just let it go. But it's a mix by me that I feel like I listen to a lot of music, and I think that I have good taste in music, so I just try to help you vibe out the right way. The next one is coming out in March. We do a monthly, so to be on the lookout for that. And actually, we have and most of the music, if not all of the music that's on the mix, we'll have on a playlist. So definitely, there's a link in the bio for that. So definitely go check that out. And again, definitely go out there and listen to Head Wraps and Lipsticks. These two sisters, one of them is mine, right here. Me and Alex, we share a sister. They really do their thing out there. They definitely hitting you with, and I say this all the time. If you're a dude and you're listening to Head Wraps and Lipstick, don't let the name fool you. It's just it's a brand thing. One loves makeup, lipstick. Another one
Stop taking yourself too serious.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's not that.
See what they're talking about another time.
Yeah, it's a really good listen. So definitely.
You get it all the time. They be like, "Oh, I thought it was a beauty podcast." I'm like, then I know you didn't listen. You just heard the name.
You just heard the name.
You didn't listen because we don't talk about makeup or beauty at all.
At all.
At all. Not what we talk about.
And Pearl, I just want to say thank you for coming out here, man, and definitely dropping jewels. And it's funny
because my kids don't listen to me when I try to tell them my philosophies. So I appreciate y'all having me on here. I needed an outlet.
Yeah. And thanks for the drinks, man. I feel good. I forgot I got sweaty and shit.
Oh, no, this is good bourbon right here. I gotta drive.
Far.
No.
Trust me, when someone texts you, you're not going to get it until you stop. Yeah. You don't know. Only person I've ever known to have that do not disturb on while driving.
I don't got time for that.
Good for you.
Oh, you leave that setting on?
Yeah, like when I plug up my phone to my car, it like automatically. I don't got time.
Yeah, I'm living dangerously.
I don't have time.
I'd be tweeting.
I mean, I might miss
She's
some
got
stuff.
more important things. That's cool. You don't.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You don't miss anything.
Yeah, I'd be
There's nothing that is that important that you need to risk your life.
I'm learning so much from this guy right
now.
No,
it's not that. Look, be honest with yourself. That's the easiest thing. Stop lying to yourself, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, I got time for it.
Oh, that should be a hashtag. Stop lying to yourself.
Yeah, because I don't have time for it. People already can't drive, so I don't know. I need to be focused and sing Beyonce and stuff.
Yo, I'm gonna reach out to VVG. Yeah, I definitely want to have him on. Yeah. I don't know why I thought he was a Cali cat who moved to Charlotte, but he's a local cat.
Him and his father own multiple businesses around town, and they've been kind of like a Charlotte staple for a long time. So it'd be good to get him in and. Because he really does a lot of good things for the Charlotte community as well.
Word. Mm-hmm. Side note, a lot of people don't know. You put me on. Pearl put me on to Sianka.
Oh, I meant to mention her. Sianka is a beast.
Yeah,
I love Sianka. She's awesome. She's not from Charlotte, but she has great music.
Yeah, she's from Raleigh, but yeah.
Yeah, when she was at
This is right before she started blowing up, though. Because we was talking and he was like, "Hey, somebody you should definitely have her. She got a beautiful sound." Yada yada. Sianka, I reached out to her, and then we had her on the Go Create podcast. And then from that moment on, not saying it had anything to do with us, but from that moment on, not saying that, but from there on, it was like she just like I was really listening to Ebro Beats One radio show, and I'm just happening to listen, and then it was like, we got an artist. They highlight the artist we're gonna highlight is from North Carolina. Her name is Sianka, and I was like, what the?
Yeah,
wow.
that new phone. Who's this? That's just tight.
Yeah, that's tight. Yeah,
and she's an amazing artist. She's sort of like a Carolina Erykah Badu to me.
Definitely. Yeah, I can get that.
Yeah, she loves her. She loves her. So
she's dope.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you again, Pearl. Yeah. Next 2 weeks, I'll holler at you. I'll get people, call my people. We'll definitely do this. We out of here.
Bye.
Yerp.